The next big category with the 7 categories is if we look at 3, so the second big category is called the circle of influence category. In that you can look at the circle of influence, and there's what's called the inner and outer circle of influence. And this has to do with trust and need. And here's what happens is you can expect only 1% of business from a cold call category. 1%. You can get 7% from passive referrals. 15% from leads. 55% from active referrals. In other words, knowing exactly what to say and how to say it and how to do it, you can create business way better than just waiting for it. That's called active referrals. But the key is introductions. You can get 75% of business from introductions. So obviously the best business is introductions if you're going to do any marketing. Now the difference on why you'll get only 1% business from a cold call versus 75% from introduction marketing, one of the main differences, or the two differences, are trust and need. In a cold call category, there's no trust, and you don't know if there's any need at all. It's just a crapshoot. In an introduction category, there's definitely a need, and there's trust. So you're positioned way better, and let's apply it to chiropractic. So and I'll give you 2 really good contrast examples. So a cold call category would be like going down to the local mall and doing, a spinal screening. Well, that's just random people coming by. They could have a problem, they could not have a problem, whatever. So that's the worst kind of business to try to get. It's the worst marketing. That's a cold call. And then the best is the introduction. And at the top of the line, there's 6 introduction categories. At the top of the line is the spouse of your patient. So I can ask my spouse, I can ask my patient if their spouse is having any gateway problems. I can say, hey, Joe, what's your wife's name, Mary? Is Mary having any back pain, neck pain, headaches, or arthritis? And so I can find out real fast, and I'm going to have what's called third-party trust. Since Joe's already my patient, she's already going to naturally give me a lot more trust than if she was in the mall and she ran into you doing a spinal screening. So that's the circle of influence. Now there's 4 different categories of circle of influence. We'll get into those different degrees, but obviously the one that's the best is the closest.